What's up, YouTube? You guys, we're back at it with another video. Some of you all watched my last video, Legends of the Fall. If you watched till then, which hardly nobody did, but anyway, I ended up winning the stock production championship in Ultra 4 on the East Coast. Man, I'm very happy to be able to secure that championship. Man, it's a lot of work, a lot of tough competition, and yeah, I'm just ecstatic. But last year, before going into the Ultra 4 season, I made a video. It's called Budget Build RS1. I did not have a clue what I was doing going into the Ultra 4 season, but and I still don't, still learning, but I'm light years ahead of where I was last year at this time, because I have did a whole season now. I know what it takes to win, I feel like. And but yeah, but anyway, guys, I'm just gonna give you a close look at this RS1 and show you guys what I was able to compete on. I do believe, in fact, I know I was on the most stock machine out there. But, you know, I'll show you guys up close. You can decide for yourself. Guys, as you can see here, stock A-arms. Still stock upper A-arms, in my opinion, on the RS1. You don't need to do anything, because down here is where all your hits are taken. And, actually, if you look right here, that A-arm is actually bent. I've got to get in touch with ORB and let them know. Also, this is a big deal. Stock front axles. Stock tie rods. I mean, I'm on pretty much a stock machine out there. But I will be switching front axles next season. As you can see, that's the first front axle I've broke on either RS1. Yeah. That one, this machine there, I only raced it one time, but it's got 5,300 miles on it. And I have never had a front axle or a tie rod give way on me. So I may have it next year, but right now I'm gonna stick with you know what works. I'm not gonna change any of that, but I am gonna go switch to Tusk front axles. They're cheaper, and I do think they're better. As far as suspension wise, these are still the Walker Evans shocks, but Gary at G-Force, he tuned them, put his springs on them. He actually changes the piston in them, I believe. But man, what a difference. That thing, it's just like riding a completely different machine. Those shocks was able to elevate my racing to where I feel like I could compete and you know, do what I was able to do at Legends. Without Gary tuning those shocks, no way I would have won that last round. I probably would have broke something. But on the rear of the machine, again, it's, you know, pretty well stock. Still the Walker Evans shocks with Gary, you know, G-Force doing the valving. Stock sway bar. I did switch just before the last race. I did switch to ORB trailing arms. I love ORB stuff, but I'm not sure about these trailing arms, and here's why. I can get my phone and show you. Now, don't get me wrong, these trailing arms are tough. I just finished the Legends of the Fall. 0 bends. As you can see, it's still towed in exactly the way it's supposed to be. The only issue I don't like about them is it changes the angle of your shocks. And give me a second here and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Alright, now these things probably ain't sitting on level ground, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, 69.5 degree. On stock, they'll be more like, I'm gonna say something. Hang on. Let's let this thing, it's cold out here. Nah, 44.5. But what these trolling arms did, it moved the shock back 2 inches, which will make the shock work worse. See, they're about 7 degrees difference. You got a 37 there. Mm, 42.3, but you know, the ground probably ain't the same. I done that in my building. They have 7 degree difference, but not sure how I feel about that just yet. It worked for me down at Legends, but the back of the machine was kicking up a little more than I wanted. But anyway, just back to the RS1, what all I have done to it. As far as power, we just have a slip-on exhaust. That's it. Still stock header. And going into this season, that's the way it's going to stay. And I'll get back with you on that. Alright guys, back to the RS1. What all I've got done to it. On the rear, I used ORB's radius rods. And for axles, I run Tusk. Them Tusk axles for like 120 bucks. You get a 1-year warranty on them, and I have not broken one yet. I've got now 3 races on them. I did rip a boot on one, but I'm pretty sure I done that on installation. But yeah, guys, it's pretty well a bone stock RS1 with Gary at G-Force doing the shocks. Back on the power side of it, Team Alba Racing does tune the ECU, and you can watch on my videos. I think this machine runs real well for stock. It's stock clutching. All it's got is that slip-on ECU tune, and I'm happy with the power for what it is. I'm not happy with the power overall, but I'm happy, you know, for what I've got. One more modification I done right before Legends to this machine. I finally did go with a 1/2-inch skid. I've already looked up under it. I already have lost a couple bolts. Only problem I got with this skid plate, it bolts to your frame. They use self-tapping screws. I'm not really a big fan of that. There's a couple people lost a few of them at Legends, but yeah, if you're gonna run that skid and race, I recommend just crawling up on your machine or whatever you got. If you got a lift or whatever, just check your bolts, because there's a lot of people lost them. But guys, that's pretty well it. I mean, what you see is what you get with this machine. And I actually had all my my race nets. They were zip tied. I was on a budget. I read the rules, and this passed. I don't think it's gonna pass next year. They done at one of the Red Bull races. The guy from USAC, he jumped onto me about it, and I was like, "Buddy, this thing it passed Ultra 4." So, but he said it won't pass next year. But for next year, me and Jason Bentley, that owns Caged Up Welding Fabrication, we're actually gonna redo this cage. I'm gonna get me a quick release steering wheel, and then we're gonna put a bar that ties in from your A pillar to your C pillar. Then we're gonna do a B pillar. Gotta cut this handle off, but we're gonna make the cage pretty safe, make it more racy. But as far as that goes, I'm gonna change the cage on it. I am gonna change my shocks for next year. That's funny, like if you watch my video last year, I went into the season on bone stock, even without Gary's revalve and his spring kit. I raced Rush and AOP on bone stock shocks with Bandit tender springs. You can go back and watch the video. But I learned real quick that wasn't gonna work. But what I've learned from Ultra 4, the suspension is by far the most important thing. So going into this season, I'm going to be running 2.5 Elkas on the front, 3.0 Elkas on the rear. And we're going to get, I'm probably going to go with George at Double E. He's a big fan of Elkas. He tunes the Miller Brothers shocks. Not a lot of people run Elkas, but you know, I think they're missing out. Elka has dominated ATV racing for years, and that's what I run when I race quads on my Yamahas. And that's what I'm gonna run on this RS1. Mitch Wolford raced RS1 at Rush, was second in Pro Mod. He's the one that kind of turned me on to him. But guys, oh yeah, here's the trail rig. As you see here, I got still a lot of flats. That one's going low. I cut down at Legends. I cut down 2 tires, which was real good. But luckily, I cut them both down at the same time and was able to change 2 on 1 pit stop, and that saved me. But, oh yeah, also on tires, I run a tire that nobody runs, Tuss Terabytes. So, this is a true budget build RS1, and it is the East Coast champ. So, another reason I wanted to make this video, anybody out there that's on a budget, what I did, I bought this RS1 used, go snatch you once, about 500 miles on it. Send your shocks to Gary, get you a cage, race nets, all your safety equipment, some lower radius rods and A-arms, change your U-joints, because that about cost me at Visions. That's on your channel. But I do also have a KB3 driveline on this now. That wasn't going to happen to me again. But other than that, you can race this machine. Anybody on a budget, you put 14. If you buy a used machine, get a good deal on it, you can have $15,000 in this thing and be competitive in Ultra 4. But guys, one last thing, I was going to just kind of tell you my plans for next year. I am stepping up to Pro Mod. Only big change, like I said, I'm doing that machine. I'm going to change the shocks. No power increase. I was wanting to do a turbo RS1, but I just don't have enough help behind me. I'm not good enough mechanic to, I feel, keep the machine running. I've had people offer to help, but my gut feeling's telling me stay away from it. I don't want to put all this money into racing and go down there and keep breaking or, you know, having a failure. So I'm going to keep the RS1, put Elkas on it, make the machine tougher, gusset the frame. And that's another thing, I haven't even gusset the frame yet. I'm going to gusset the frame, get confidence in the machine, that way I can hit stuff a little harder. And I think I had to do what I need to do at Rush, the new track at Pennsylvania Visions. But now for Crandon, it's going to be a different story. That's where this machine comes in. I've been trying to sell it. Nobody will buy it. And I was just sitting there in my recliner one night thinking, how am I going to compete at Crandon? Because last year I struggled bad. And that's on my YouTube channel as well. I just got lucky to get third. But this YXZ has about 200 horsepower to the wheels. It's a beast. So what we're going to do, we're going to get it Ultra 4 ready. And it's going to be my Crandon machine. I've already reached out to a few people about an A-arm setup on the bottom. We're going to put us a big nice 120 wall cage on it. Get it all safetied up. Other than that, we will probably send those shocks to maybe Gary or George at Double E. I'm not sure. Either one of them, in my opinion, the best in the world ever. If you want to race. Now, if you want to be a trail rider, go get you a spring kit from somebody else. But now, if you want a true race shock, George at Double E or Gary at G-Force. But I'm going to get one of them to do my shock work. Get these things fixed up. Those are actually RC2 25s. These are good shocks on the YXZ. And other than that, I'm going to gusset the hide off the frame. Make the machine tough. The power's already there. This thing's got a GYTR turbo with it's got an exhaust, cams, light and flywheel. It's got up to 12 pound of boost if I want it. Power wise, it's ready. I just got to make it tough, make it safe, and I think that will give me a shot to be competitive at Crandon. So that's the plans for next year. Keep with the RS1 I got, race it. That one over there, my trail rig will be my pre-runner most of the season. But then at Crandon, I'm gonna bust out the YXZ. That will be the only race I race the YXZ at. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like the YXZ. But guys, I apologize for all the talking, but you know, I figured I wanted to give everybody an up close of that RS1, just show you how stock that machine was. That's the best machine Polaris ever made, and it's a shame they quit making it. Hopefully they'll come out with a newer version where the front shocks go to the bottom A arm, maybe give it a little more power, and man, you got a racer right there. But guys, until next time, I'll see you. God bless you all.